Oh, I just realized I don't have music. Okay, this seems fitting. That moved over. Just while I work at posting. Some things. That actually might be too loud on my end. So wait just a second. There. Hey, Kate. Hey, Kit. Chaotic. Something. Feels like it's been a little bit since I've streamed painting. Wow, I have... How has your Labor Day weekend been going? I actually don't need these brushes. Got a lot of just stuff over here. Sorry, while I reorganize. Most of those tools are for when I'm actually crafting minis, not painting. It's been very productive, about 20 hours of thread raider work alone. That's better than me. I have been doing not a lot. Actually been just taking time to relax. We built the start of the book, which I think I posted to your Discord. So yeah, we're just gonna get started here. Oh, sorry about that. So, to begin here, I'm going to be starting by painting the base of his flesh, because I'm going to be doing some wet blending today, which is going to be a real pain in the buttocks. Also need my reference image up. Yes, I know. So, well, this stuff's a little liquidy. That's what I get for it being on a wet palette. So yeah, just layer by layer, adding his skin tone. Starting with the base. This is actually the color that the... Yes, Papa Fox Tacos! First off, fantastic name. But yes, this is the Critical Role Mini from the Kickstarter of Fjord. How is your Labor Day weekend going, Papa Fox Tacos? So for those curious, the reference image I have is clearly, it's right here in the way. Maybe watch one episode of Critical Role. That's okay. I started watching episode 2 and then I stopped because I just simply do not have the time to keep up with it. But when they announced that they were doing some minis, I was more than happy to back it because I love minis. But yeah, so I'm using a reference image for kindly sat back down and DM the fam, and it went great. Awesome. Yeah, Friday normally we have D&D, but we stream D&D. But this week there were some people over, and we took some time to not play in front of a stream. We ended up doing some gaming off stream. Okay. So his fingers are this green. Luckily there isn't a whole lot of his skin showing, which to me is a joyous time. It means less I have to wet blend. I've noticed people all over social media seem to have an obsession with CR. Told myself I'd have to make time to watch it, but I haven't been able to get back into it like Acquisition Incorporated. Hey, Mustache Prawn! It is going well. How about you? Yeah, Critical Role is something. But, yeah, I got like 13 episodes into the second campaign, and actually keeping up with it live, and it killed me. It was it was a pain to follow. So, but it's going good. Just basing a few of my minis. Got two. Oh, hold on. Got 2 Lord finished so far, but doing my battle line now. Awesome! Yep, I just got started on this, as you could probably tell. I'm just taking care of... I'm getting the base skin tone down for this, and then I'm going to wet blend the bottoms. This mini come out of the boxed set. Yes, it did. So the bottom of the face is actually going to be a much brighter color. And that's actually why I'm doing the dark skin tone first. I want that at the base for when I start bringing that other color in. It's just going to be a lot of me sitting here trying to get it to look good. Awesome. Yeah, I got a bunch of minis that I gotta get around to finishing. I did the Dancer of the... what brand of paints am I using? I am using Citadel paints. For pretty much everything that's not a metallic. I started getting into this type of metal. It's hard to see in this light, but it's a Vallejo. It's a Vallejo acrylic metal, and this is a... Oh, there we go. This is a fantastic metal. I'm collecting the Night Haunt for Age of Sigmar. Hoo. Yeah, I used to play Tomb Kings back when, those were a thing. But yeah, that's awesome to hear. I love Games Workshop minis, but I just can't get into their games anymore. Yeah, so, interesting developments this week. Katie, the first batch of pickles that Katie started making are, becoming, they're ready, and they taste good. Just trying to put multiple thin layers on him to make sure that the colors are all nice and even. So the last thing I want is him to look blotchy. So nothing like a nice crunchy pickle, especially if you home make them. Yeah, and she keeps pulling in pickling cucumbers from outside. The plant just keeps pumping them out. Olivia's tried it, just can't seem to get that crunch though. Katie does it in she doesn't do the spears. She does just the she does the slices, and that has been going really well. Ours are a bit saltier than most people may like, but that is because we have friends who really enjoy the salt. Yes. Chips. They go fantastic on sandwiches. Okay, I think I'm actually gonna focus back there because it doesn't look like the grain of Fjord's head goes all the way around. It looks like it's just on what would be his chest area. Chest area and jaw. What I'm really happy about is that I don't have to bring this blend up to his eyes, because as soon as I start work on the eyes, I'm going to mess up that region something fierce. Just making sure to get the tips of his hands. I am very glad that compared to the Jester Mini, there's not as many flourishes and stuff. I can mostly get away with doing some straight up colors, some nice edging, and not have to hand draw anything. That is where it gets real frustrating. Okay. For the most part, I have the bright side of Fjord. I think I am actually going to go with this one. It's not as yellow, but I prefer that. I'm gonna need quite a bit of that because that's gonna be mixed up a few times. I'm also, when I paint this, I'm not going to bring it all the way up to his, to where that line's going to be, because I want to blend it up into there. So let's see, a majority of the area is his jaw. This is going to need a few layers. And I can hear Katie outside. I think there's a little bit too much water in my palette. God. So. We're just trying not to put too much paint because I don't want to cover up his mouth, because that happened with Jester, and immediately I no longer had I basically had to hand paint her mouth, which was not an enjoyable experience. Hold on. All right. There's a little bit of this brighter green on his biceps. Well, I hope everyone has some fun plans for tomorrow, being the last day of the Labor Day weekend. Just getting a bit more color in here. I know tomorrow's going to be the day that I really am trying to get some things done. Whew! Hand slip just for a second. Okay. Now that I got that, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And here I'm going to start doing some transition. This isn't working nearly as well. as I hoped. So if this isn't making a lot of sense, that's fine. I have no idea what I'm doing, actually. Well, you couldn't tell it's that hat. That helps. Yeah, so I'm mostly just trying to get like a nice blending transition between the two. So that way it looks like it transitions from this brighter color into this darker color. You might want to place your reference pick on the left side of the screen so we can see what you're painting. Alright, that's a good suggestion. Give me just a second. Here, I'll put this down here. The focus part gets a little bit challenging. Because if I pull it out, it'll be a bit more in focus. But, some of it has to do with this camera. Because I'll also end up moving some. Oh, too far out. Yeah. I need to set this up to not use automatic focus. But, well, no, it's, if you guys can't see it, then that's an issue. But, yeah, killing some of these lights doesn't really help. Yeah. No, those lights are usually more to help for, usually there to help for when this mini starts to get a little bit darker. Okay. I need to... keep calm and paint on. Hey, thank you for the follow, Mustache Prawn. I appreciate it. Welcome, sorry if I'm quiet. Just paint. Hey, you know what? That's fine. I've had plenty of people who come in here, there's a lot of people who come in here and just kind of watch and paint. So I do not take offense to it at all. Sorry if I'm not as attentive when I'm in the middle of doing this. I have to get this while the paint is still wet. It's kind of like striking the iron while it's still hot. No, I tried streaming but got sick of the tech problems, so stopped. Plus, I don't think my painting is show-off/stream worthy. I thought the same exact thing for a very long time. But I did it anyway. I was actually kind of away. Initially, we tuned in to watch you paint. So it's cool if you don't pay attention to us, me. I do try to interact with everybody. It's only when suddenly a time-sensitive thing like wet blending suddenly happens. Okay. Now it's this. Whew. So I don't normally lick my brush, but for this it's because it's a lot quicker. Okay, that's where a majority of... kind of cleaning up some of this, getting these bright parts back to being a little bit brighter. Whew, goddamn. Okay. A quick preview. We're gonna... Oh. Alright. Still needs a little bit of drying time. The colors are also a little bit more vibrant than the camera seems to want to show up. Hey, hey. Focus on the mini. There we go. Yeah. I guess I made an Instagram to show a friend what I'm doing. That's about as much as I show off my minis. I don't tag anything though, to be honest, just to keep it out of the way and out of sight as possible. Honestly, I think it's... Oh, excuse me. It's not a terrible thing to, you know, kind of show what you do, because you might be surprised by who ends up enjoying it. And we are our own worst critics. That's why we have people like CA who ends up saying, hey, no, your stuff's amazing. Hark, there be art. Hello, dear. Oh, God damn it. Okay, the wet blending on his arm is not going over as well as I'd hoped. All right. His arm's a little better. Still drying a bit. I don't know if I could actually hold this here so you guys could see what I'm working on. If I could be stable enough for it. We're gonna try for a little bit. Okay, so, since we're already working as small as this, I think it's about time that I work on the eyes. And for a first wet blending test, this was pretty good. What is his character anyway? Yes, he is a half-orc warlock. I don't know a whole lot about that other than I believe he is a hexblade warlock. Alright. Okay, this is the part that I am usually most worried about. I think he's packed to the blade. Saw a clip where he was trying to summon his weapon and couldn't. He could be. I didn't watch enough. Okay. case you didn't know, Chaotic, Inda is Katie. I'm trying to get just enough paint on here that, don't go overboard with his eyes. Again. Great, now his other eye. You owe me a hug later? Well, I'm glad she says that she loves me. I hope her hip is doing better. I find it very interesting that Katie's family has taken such a liking to me. Holy hell, okay. There are some whites of some eyes. And this is a color I haven't used in a while. The camera is shaking because... Hey. I got an idea. Stop shaking, camera. Just a little drop of water. Kind of mix that in. Adding water to these, especially for a brush so small, helps keep it wet a little bit longer. Because I've actually been experiencing with this brush in particular. So just for some comparisons, this is how big this brush is. The paint will actually dry in the brush before I get it to the mill. So I actually have to wet down the paint in order for it to work for me at all. Oh. Hey, yes! Welcome to the stream. I actually got done wet blending his face. I'm now painting Fjord's eyes. Okay, I actually got the yellow. It's a bit hard to see because it's on the white. That's okay. We're streaming a group of... I'm streaming to a group of painters in the store. Hello, everybody! I hope you are all having a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Okay. The one thing I noticed about Fjord's eyes in the artwork, it's harder to see on the artwork that you guys see there, but I have it blown up on my side, and he actually has like cat eyes. Oh, that is the start of the texture. I actually didn't. I just glued sand to all of their bases. I actually use playground sand for just about all of my mini bases, even if I paint them a dirt color. So, I likely won't be actually doing the base stuff until I figure out what I want to do for all of them. Yeah, so I have to do, instead of a dot, I have to do a line. Oh, hold on. I have to move this magnifying glass a little closer. Hard to tell if I'm actually getting anything on this brush. Come on. Focus. And what I'll end up doing here eyes are crooked. Yeah. Come on. Because the mini is so small, it sometimes doesn't like to focus. And then of course, with this white background. Okay. One thing I need to do is I need to slightly clean it up with a bit of the surrounding green to get the shape of his eyes correct and to get rid of some of those black lines underneath. Like I made this side just ever so slightly too big. Okay. Holy crap. Okay. Got his eyes like that. Cool. He does have eyebrows. And they're black. That makes this easy. Then he's also got some scars, but I'm going to do that with a different color green. Damn it. Hey, thank you for the follow, Z-Bomb Gaming. Getting that much closer to our goal of 600. It's really funny to see faces without eyebrows. It's really creepy. I made his eyebrow just a little bit too big on one side. It goes up just a little bit. So I'm going to be just pulling that back. Hey. Okay, you know what? Now I'm gonna do something since I'm here. There. Now it'll lock in place. Except for the fact that this camera's now wiggling. Hey, stop that. I do also want to know what happens when I zoom out. Wow, that is a lot better. Okay. Cool. But yeah. So I have Fjord's face. I think the only thing I don't have is shading, which I'm going to do very carefully. So I'm going to put away this brush because this brush is easy for me to damage. Get out this brush. These, the shades from Citadel, they have to be shaken, or you will actually get a glossy finish to it. I'm spreading this about, trying to let it fall into the recesses. But trying to avoid the eyes. Sorry if I'm not catching chat for a second. I'm trying to move this along. And also constantly trying to keep this in line of the camera. Alright. Autistic cosplay. Ah, my favorite Warladin. Still figuring out what combo of Warlock and Paladin would sound better. Yes, indeed. I don't watch the show too much. I don't think I'm happy how that turned that green. I think I'm gonna go back. Palalock? Nope. I think Warladin sounds good. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish his arm with this. And then once this completely dries, I'm gonna go back with the lighter green and redo that. Redo that, redo the lighter wet blend. Because that didn't turn out quite how I wanted. Warlock with Celestial Patron from Xanathar's Guide, I'm guessing. I have 0 ideas. But I'm also indifferent. I know I'm not going to end up watching the show. Because I am very far behind. And I just don't have the time to get around to it. Unfortunate. Okay, so while that's drying, I think I'll start getting some of the browns. Hey! It's Gareth! Or Andrew. It's Andrew. He's a mod. I know his name. Alright, so I got a few colors here that I'm doing. I think I'm going to start lower on him. So I can... Okay, so that's one of the brighter. Okay, we're going to start with some dryad bark. I think this one might be... Where's my scooper? Where's my paint scooper? Oh, mixed in with my brushes. It is a really cool color palette. It's also much easier for me to paint because I actually have a wide variety of browns that I can use. So, that part I'm happy with. Actually, why am I using this brush? I have a slightly larger one I can use that's going to be better for base coating. That is a very good description. The gradient and tones of his skin remind me of a sea during a full algae bloom. So a lot of Fjord's outfit is definitely brown. However, it makes it really. There are some very subtle color differences in the leathers. So I'm trying to capture those best I can. instead of me doing one flat brown color and then shading it differently across the thing, which hasn't looked good. Yeah, the one thing I do like about painting the Critical Role minis, I am not at a deficit for reference art. I have so many different options I can choose from for looking at his color palette and looking at him in general. I've chosen the original just because I prefer trying to go that route, but I don't know. I know you don't have a lot of context for Fjord, and just wanted to let you know there's a God tugging for his soul. Oh, wonderful! That sounds like he's having a pleasant time. So that shade is probably dry, but I'm almost done here with the boot. Das Boot. Fjord and pastels. So, yep, he goes through an existential crisis of self. He didn't go through an existential crisis of self at all. Yeah, so I'm being a little bit messy at this stage. Oh no, I caught the sarcasm. This stage I'm able to be a little messy just because I haven't base coated everything. Lives and breathes sarcasm. I mean, I have to deal with it so often. That, yeah. I think sometimes there's some questioning in D&D of whether or not I'm being sarcastic or not. I think the boots are base coated. Whose character design aligns with your personal aesthetics the most? My personal aesthetics? Honestly, the best one is... So if we're talking Campaign 2, it'll probably be Yasha. But if it's Campaign 1, it was the one who basically got wings and was taken on by the Raven Queen. As Gareth here will point out, I am an unapologetic edgelord. I love wearing blacks and reds and... Okay. Listen, just because I love telling stories about death and dying doesn't... Okay, yeah, that does make me an edgelord. Shut up. It's my drinking mug. Cups are smaller. And also, I found that mug around, I am very... Oh, I love Grave Domain Clerics. I actually like what the wash did to the blend. Added another layer to it. Jake, your favorite holiday is... Yes! You can decorate your office with some really bad Halloween decorations. Well, I mean, you... God damn it. I really gotta get this camera to be off of my desk entirely. I mean, yeah, I totally could. But literally, the colors of my office are a dark brown and a dark red. I'm almost at Halloween colors already. I feel like we should paint the D&D room with really crappy Halloween decorations. Plus, I gotta go to Spirit Halloween to get the, I gotta go to Spirit Halloween to pick up the giveaway items for October. It's gonna be nice. That was really creepy of me, but whatever. So, fall, late fall, and winter are my favorite seasons. Because it's cold. It's finally as cold as my soul. Oh, so the gradient color thing is a aesthetic choice on Matt's part for the world. I didn't know that part. I literally thought that had to do with something with Fjord. Oh, okay. That's awesome. I enjoyed Critical Role when I watched it. But sadly, 4 hours every Thursday night was a bit much. I feel you podcasts are helpful if you ever want it playing in the background, but I assume you know that. Yeah. The problem is that it's that 3 to 4 hour time just to consume one episode. And most of my podcast listening actually comes down to I listen to a lot of educational stuff because I tend to listen to stuff that is going to give me more to work with, especially when it comes to writing and world building. So, but like when I did watch it, there was a lot I learned, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I love seeing the Critical Role fan art and stuff. So, okay, holy crap. Reapplying that color, I think, really worked out. I've got the main part of his skin done. And his eyes. His eyes are fucking done, and I'm so happy with it. Alright. Moving on to the parts surrounding him. Surrounding his face. I'm going to add a little bit more black to here, to my palette. Because now I'm going to do his hair. I'm trying to work from the top down. Eyes are looking good. I feel like he's trying to seduce me. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember he has a really high charisma. Black is just a little bit too watered down. And I have to be very careful. Luckily, if I paint over his skin here, that's not going to be as hard to clean up. The fingerless gloves, these are actually compression gloves. So what they do is they make it so while I'm handling small things, like this brush, my hands don't cramp up. So I can actually sit here and paint for 4 hours straight and walk away without my hands wanting to die. So, yeah, they were actually, Devin Rue was the one who recommended them to me. And I've been wearing them pretty much ever since. Yeah, she, was actually before I joined her Discord and stuff. I was also going to say you got some Caleb and Knot aesthetics going with them, by the way. Nice. Yeah, they're really comfortable. Every little bit counts. Yeah, it's another reason actually why I have like this holder on him. It's so my left hand is gripping something much bigger than just the tiny base here. None of the things, like the compression gloves, this holder, are definitely not necessary when it comes to painting. But I've spent so much time and money on painting that I bought the things to make it more enjoyable. Sounds like you could use a Bigby's hand. Oh, I don't have it, but I know WizKids put out the different spell minis, and Bigby's hand is one of them. Layers. Alright. There's a few more details on Fjord's face, but I'm going to wait to do those. I want to get kind of the rest of him. I'm going to jump in some video games. I'll still be keeping an eye on chat, though. Awesome! Have fun with your video games. Okay, I'm going to use the same brown that I used down here on some of these upper armor pieces, because those are also a brighter brown. And I'm actually going to use my technique that I use for painting wood on these pieces of leather, because it's by far my favorite technique. Just clean up something down there. Yeah, so his hood is a different color, so we're going to avoid that. Things will start shaping up as I get more paint on here. Okay, I need to switch brushes again. I need one that's just slightly bigger. No spoilers, but something hilarious. So Fjord is a sailor, right? Well, Travis knows nothing about sailing, so Matt called him on it during a session. Travis showed up with a Sailing for Dummies book the next session. That's fantastic. I love doing a lot of research about little things. I don't know sailing nearly as well as Andrew does, so usually I basically ask for his advice when we start getting into the sailing. When you say it's looking so good, are you talking about the mini, or are you talking about something else? Oh, why thank you. We're still early on here, but that's okay. I got a lot more to do on this. Okay, I'm actually going to switch over to the smaller brush, because I do not want to get it on his arm. So, these brushes I have are the best brushes I've ever owned. I used to use, like, purely Citadel mint. I used to use purely Citadel brushes. And then when I went to Gen Con, it was Gen Con 2018. Yeah, Gen Con 2018, I found this booth of these folks who were selling brushes. And I found them on Sunday, and I really wish I had seen them sooner. And they're called Games and Gears. And they have the best brushes, hands down, I've ever used. I have been using this set that's got the gold handle. I've been using these for a solid year, and almost no other brushes. And they have a bunch of other brushes that I got that do a lot of technical things. And oh god, I just fucking love these brushes. They're not. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. That's just how much I enjoy these. Ooh, hey, I didn't notice this, but there is a pre-made cut in the mini. That is good. That's a very good sign. Because as awesome as I can be at painting, if a mini has a detail on it, then I can paint it. I can actually use some other techniques to really draw attention to it and showcase how good the mini is. I gotta cover it up first. I also gotta quit pulling this off camera. So the goal here, right now, is to get a solid color. I don't want the white showing up underneath of it. Oh, I think this top plate's also part of that. Yes, it is. I think I'm also going to do the scabbard the same color, because it looks like on the artwork, like the scabbard is like the same brown leather color. I gotta be really careful not to accidentally hit his arm. Especially with a brush that's like feels like it's an atomic bomb for laying down color. All right. Yeah, because Fjord has a strength of 11, and you could probably break his arm. just being very careful because I worked very hard to get that gradient on his arm. I don't want to just then put some paint right over top of it, because that would just be cringeworthy. Okay, I did miss some. Nope, switching to the smaller brush. Well, I say smaller brush. It's not my smallest brush. Okay. A little bit more underneath the arm. Alright. So now I got that brown down. Yeah, I think that's going to be the same brown I use across there. He's looking really good. The guy who was teaching painting today says he's going to follow you when he gets home. Oh, nice! Thank you! See, Jake and I have the opposite problem with sailing. He starts talking about ships and sailing as a GM, and I ask him questions that just leave him sitting there going, Oh, missed a big old spot. Right here. There. Make sure you don't tickle him. Well, I'm glad that the guy at the shop is preferred ship type. The floating kind. I know that was directed towards Andrew, but still funny. I'm mostly just quadruple checking all of the stuff because I'd hate to get into painting the rest of that and find out, oh hey, guess what? You didn't get it. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to the darker brown. Mine is flying in space, Jake. Okay, so now I'm going to go with a slightly darker base tone for a brown. This is Rhinox Hide. It's also got a little bit more red to it. Ooh, and it's drippy, which means I probably need to get a new one. Okay. So, for pretty much the rest of it, with one exception. So, on the artwork, there's this section right here. There is a very dark brown over it, and in the lines, which they actually have on the model, thank God, it's actually like a gray tone. Now, because of how paint lies, it's going to be easier for me to actually paint this entire thing gray, and then paint the dark brown over it. And then I'll probably do a wash just to kind of bring it together. So yeah, pretty much everything else is getting this dark brown. Other than the metal, but we are avoiding the metal until the end. And the rope, because the rope is red. That makes sense and should be fine, and it's open to interpretation. It should also give a cool effect. Yeah, that's the hope. Yeah, most of painting is just honestly been experimentation and learning the nuances of how paints work. I'll also be like applying different levels of wash to each area. Which I try to save doing certain washes for when I actually get around to them. Sloops. Let's get this in here. This is going to take a few coats, just because this paint is watered down. More than likely what ended up happening was I was using it for an airbrush. And so I put a fluid in it that decreased the. I think it's decreasing the viscosity of the paint. So it turned out a bit more wet. Jake, you must unknowingly make a pun. You just unknowingly made a pun. The group's in the north at the moment and they have a lot of coats. You are correct. I did not know that that would be a pun. Painting that Fjord ass. Almost dipped my brush in the wrong brown. I keep lowering the mini, and I don't know why. It's a weird thing. Yeah, this looks a lot worse on these larger areas. So yeah, this is going to be several coats. So Jester's mini was a little bit tougher. This one is just going to have me doing a lot of the same thing. I think what it is it's my magnifying glass. I think I keep lowering it to see. Nicandranas. That is funny. I can pull out the Jester Mini here in a minute. The big thing is that I haven't cleaned off her base. So I'll probably pull her out when I'm waiting for like a large amount of paint to dry on him. Oh shit. That makes sense. Technically Jester has a strength of 17, so she would be tough. Well, you're looking at con for toughness, so... but it was the flowers on her dress that probably drove me the most insane while painting her. True Wednesday. Try to get as clean of a line as I can. Come on, stop going in the wrong spot. She would most likely approve and laugh at your insanity. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Okay. I may work on this darker brown first, only because of this scabbard. The scabbard is in my way, and so likely what will end up happening is I will end up accidentally painting it with this darker brown, which will then lead to problems and me having to repaint. So, better for me to just do the darker first. I'm going to spill over on the metal, just so when I go back and do the metal, and there I did. That way when I actually go back and do the metal, then there won't be any accidental gaps. Now there's a few shades of brown in this darker brown too, but that one I'll achieve with certain highlights and with certain highlights and doing some shades. So I'm far less concerned about that. Alright, and it's also this darker color. I feel like you should have tinker's glasses for work like this. So I actually have a magnifying glass that has a ring light on it. And that's what I've been using. So it's funny you say that. I have actually seen people for their mobile painting, since lugging one of these around is a pain. They have they do have some tinker's glasses that they'll take with them. Truth be told, I just wanted to see how you would look with Percy's glasses. Probably ridiculous. Which, painting his glasses is going to be interesting. I'm being super fucking careful here because I don't want to paint on Fjord's face even a little. Alright, so quite a quite a few of those colors have dried. I'm going to kind of paint over the ropes. By ridiculous, you mean ridiculously handsome. Yes, I do not want to paint on this beautiful mug. This beautiful mug that I've spent so much time working on and haven't even finished his lips. Okay, so one more coat over everything I just did, just to really solidify those colors. And also pick up the few areas that I completely missed because I'm blind. The bottom of this cloak here. Right now this seems kind of blah just because it's like a few colors. But we're gonna purdy him up real nice. Fjord has quite the mug, such a jawline as to cut grass with. Indeed. What time is it? It's only 8:30. Jesus Christ. Which means I'm only halfway through the stream. But that's okay. Getting to the fine details is going to take up a majority of this stream. Work at your pace, no rush. Oh no, I always do. Jester actually took me 2 streams to do. Because she had so much work involved in her. And technically she's not done. I haven't done the basing on her mini. Not to be confused with the base coat, because she's actually completely painted. I got like a single grain of sand on his ass. And that is not acceptable. He's got so many belts. Hey! Crazy Anna! Hold on. I think I got some dice nearby. I don't have it. Oh, I do have a D20 in here. Okay. God damn. Also, autistic cosplay. I am at home. The fact that I'm wearing pants at all is just a testament to the stream. There, 17 for you. No, but it's been a while since I've seen you on stream. It doesn't help that I also don't pay attention to our D&D chat, because GMing takes a lot. But, hey, thank you for the bits! Shared rewards to 3 others in chat. Ah. He's referencing to the fact that Fjord has so many belts, but good to know. Yeah, pants are the devil. Anybody who says otherwise, they're lying to you. So how have things been? Half watching you and half watching the Burning Man livestream. There's a Burning Man livestream? That's a thing I didn't know existed. Be very careful, Fjord. Must not paint that face. I didn't check. Yeah, the handle has some, needs some of this love. Man, I both miss and don't miss the desert. I did a hiking trip out there a very long time ago, and it was a very beautiful place. But boy, do I hate the heat. Yes, I've watched it a few years now. They have it up for the week of the event, and tonight is the last night for it. Camera will be going offline once the temple burns tonight. Ah. I actually don't know much about Burning Man. So. Other than they light a giant straw man on fire. Those colors are looking a little better. Oh, don't get me wrong, I would never go out to it. I have no desire to go out there, but it's fascinating to watch. Just people watching and listening to the people talking about the goings-on and the various art pieces and roving cam showing the concert and performances. Alright. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do get that gray color. I like my flush toilet, hot shower, and AC far too much. Sorry, but whoever says half-orcs can't fucking attractive is lying. I have no disputes about whether or not any of the races can be attractive. Anything can be attractive if you look on the internet hard enough. Let me tell you, my half-orc sorcerer has a charisma of 20. Jiraga is one sexy bitch. So does Fjord. Gosh, the havoc your half-orc and this one would be something to watch. He would sell tickets. Got a little bit on the boot, but that's fine. The boot. Yes, Yenna's here! I'm painting Fjord tonight. I don't know what I'm attempting to sing. I don't know, and I don't care. So. God damn. Becca's light is not looking great. I think there's a little bit too much water there. Alright, we're gonna go with that. So, next thing is now we're doing a layer. She was a foundling, so she has no last name. Okay, we are gonna go with one of my favorite browns, Gorthor Brown. Okay. So I'm going to use a smaller brush. Because... Hey, diadems! I am doing all right. How about you? Hope your Labor Day weekend is going great. Also, Yenna, how has your Labor Day weekend been? I hear fireworks. What other players as well as... Yes, I am painting Fjord. Well, that is good to hear. Relaxed is good. So, I'm brightening up this part of his armor, which the reason I painted the base color is because technically these paints are transparent, well, translucent, so you can see it underneath. Not really getting much of a Labor Day weekend as I worked yesterday, had today off, and I'm on call tomorrow for work because they are going through the system upgrade. Oh, wonderful. So you're working Labor Day weekend. I am so sorry to hear. And working Labor Day. Sounds like it should be illegal. You know, I just said I wasn't going to do this brown yet, but I did it anyway. Yes, and pretty much we'll be cooking dinner for my family and sister's family tomorrow for Mom's birthday. Well, I mean, that's nice that it's your mom's birthday and that you're cooking for her. I am not just working, I am working longer hours than usual. Everyone's got different experiences for Labor Day weekend. I'm catching up on other work tomorrow. A real pain in the dupa, but I'm hoping once it's up and running, everything will work better. It's been 10 years since they've upgraded the core system and online banking, so it's a whole new thing. We've been working on this for almost a year now. This weekend is the big push to get it all in place, so everything is offline right now. No online banking, no automatic voicemail, nada. Ooh boy! That sounds like it's gonna be a load of fun. in 3 hours. My call center was open 3 hours yesterday. 3 people working the phones, which is all our call center currently because one of my coworkers is out fighting cancer, and we took over 200 calls in 3 hours. My God. I am sorry to hear that, Yenna. Hopefully the upgraded system ends up being worth it. You got home and took a nap. No kidding. I get annoyed when one person calls me in an 8-hour shift. Nobody calls me. Nobody cares. Fighting cancer is regretful, and I hope... I think it's one of her co-workers is fighting cancer. If Yenna was fighting cancer and was working a call center, I'd have words for her employer. Normally we have 4 people, but are down to 3. Yeah, I just didn't want to leave Yenna out of the concern. That's fair. We're trundling along, doing what needs to be done, and trying to help keep her spirits up so she doesn't have to focus on anything other than the fight. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're helping her. Favorite calls are the ones for people wanting gateway computer help. The store is called Gateway Games, and we sell tabletop gaming stuff. Not looking forward to the upcoming week. I'm sure we are going to come back to a metric ass ton of voicemail messages because the system is down. Or you could come to none of them because the system is down. You never know. Oh, we get calls for Cigna Health Spring because our 800 number is 1 digit off from theirs. Oh, Cigna. Yeah, they're my healthcare provider. Also, who still sells gateway computers? They're still a thing? I just realized that I didn't think about. Oh. Okay. It's coming along a bit better. So. No, that's the best part. It's always some old person who wants me to get their Sudoku high score back. My god. That's amazing. Okay. Now the boots. The boots are the same color as this armor. Well, that's a cool effect. But that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me here. I'm actually quite surprised that I'm managing to stay painting on camera. Because usually when I'm zoomed in this much, I'm moving all over the place. So I don't normally expect to be able to stay on camera at all. Well, I hope everyone's been having a relaxing evening, and I'm very glad all of you decided to join me tonight. It's always fun to be able to sit here, chat, and paint. So happy the base is sand-like. So I will likely be painting the sand, but if I end up wanting to keep the beach look, I actually need to do multiple layers. Funny enough, this actually goes back to my roots of miniature painting. So I used to paint minis primarily for Warhammer Fantasy. And I painted Tomb Kings, the Egyptian skeletons, basically. So I had a lot of sand that I did. You should just do a beige color so it makes it pop more. Well, I do have, when I get the chance, I'll go grab some of my old Tomb Kings, and I'll pull out what I did for the sand there. I gotta remember, yeah, I think I know what color I was doing. But yeah, I've painted it before, and then I've put it back in the sand to get the final sand color, because right now you can actually see the white underneath of it. And that is not something that I want. I think I remember the color, but we'll see. But yeah, I actually had these all sitting in the sand for about 2 weeks. In fact, actually, most of them are still in there. I just haven't taken them out and cleaned them off. Alright, cool. So, I'm going to let that leg dry real quick. For the most part, almost everything else is about the same color. About. So I'm actually going to wait till that dries real quick. I actually don't have a Caduceus Mini. He is the only one out of the Mighty Nine. So I only got the stuff from the Kickstarter. So I have Molly, but I don't have Caduceus. Okay. So I'm actually going to set Fjord aside so he can dry real quick. And I'm going to clean up Jester. So I'm actually going to zoom out here so you guys can actually see what I do. So this is actually how I put them in here. So this is, I think this is the Mighty Nine, plus Shikasta. But then I've also got Kiri, Caleb, Bo, Not, Molly, and Yasha. But then here's the Jester I did. Oh, wrong way. Oh, god damn it. She was a lot of work. There's kind of sand everywhere right now, and that's actually what I have to do. So basically what I end up doing is I take... Oh hey, thank you for the subscription, Solid Splake! I just kind of brush off what I can. Some of this just brushes right off. There we go. Yep. So like her tail there, it was only loosely on, but some of this actually sticks on because I glued it down. With that, I end up taking just a small... little, like, scalpel-like thing, and just kind of pulling at it, trying not to get any of the paint on it. And when I come back in here, because I have to paint the sand. I have to be really careful. and not touch her legs. Yeah, so like there's a bunch. It's just on the inside of her shoe. But yeah, so Jester took me, as I said, 2 streams to do. She's got so much variation in color in some of these areas. It's really hard to see. Let me zoom it in again. Oh, too far. I'm going to pull it back then. So you can actually see on her belt, I have little lines of red that are interspersed throughout this belt. And she just had some very odd nooks and crannies that were hard to get a brush in. And her face took me forever to do, and I'm still a little disturbed by it, but it's better than it started out. So, do that. I got the outside edge cleaned up. Okay. So yeah. That's the Jester I did. And I'll eventually get everyone else out of that. I'm actually going to put her on one of these so I can get to her later and finish up her base. For now, just set her off to the side, and let us return to Fjord. Oh, wrong way. Don't worry, Autistic Cosplay. There's a lot of people who are far better at painting than I am. Okay, so now, I'm running out. So now I'm going to put a wash on over all of the brown. Gotta make sure that's shaken up nice, because if I don't, then that'll just turn out like crap. And for this, I'm just going to basically right out of the pot. Right onto the armor. Let me get this straight. You're gonna wash the guy who is associated with water. Yes. But that's okay, because this wash could drown Aquaman. There ain't oxygen in this. Whoa, I messed that up. Hold on. I'm gonna have to come back and redo the sword. That's fine. So this is one reason why having physical features for things like cuts works really well. Because you can see that this wash just pooled into that. And that's exactly what I wanted it to do. Yeah, when they actually apply battle damage to minis, it makes it so much better than if I have to apply it myself. Yes, you paint Megatronus's ass. Do it. Yeah. So this gives me a nice. The wash gets into all the little crevices, deepening their shadows, and just making them look so much better. Yeah, it usually they do for all minis, because it goes from being a bunch of flat colors to being three-dimensional, and that is the key to painting minis. Actually, is not making it just look flat. It adds shadow and depth. Washes and dry brushes are your friends in mini painting? Yes. Which is odd because minis are three-dimensional in the first place. Yes, but they do not catch light nearly as strong as objects that are larger than them. Their shadows aren't nearly as deep as they realistically should. So it looks three-dimensional, but it looks very small. And that's because it is. But to make a mini look real, you have to increase the depth of shadows. You have to make it look bigger than it is. Spell gesture. Someone washing and airbrushing. So I'm doing a few coats on this upper armor because I want it darker. Darker and a little dirtier. Fjord is a dirty boy. So, for the most part, I gotta let this dry. Actually, there's a few places that I need to pay a little bit more attention to. And I also want to do one more layer on the boots. The boots. Waiting for this to dry is unfortunately a bit of a long process. So I'm gonna go grab one of my tune cans and show you the same in just a moment. Alright, so I brought... We're going to have to zoom out. We'll have to zoom out a bit because this is a bit larger. So this is actually my bone giant. And this is using one of my sand techniques, which was basing it with sand, then painting over it with a color, and then putting it back in the sand. And it makes it look more solid. How much fun will you have painting Yasha if you haven't already? Holy fuck, this actually isn't the biggest mini I own. How much fun will you have? I haven't painted her already. I've only painted Jester. But yeah, so this is the sanding that I do. And I've enjoyed this one a whole lot. But you want to see my biggest mini? Give me just a second to look for it. Because this is small fry in comparison. We're still waiting for paint to dry, because, you know... Alright, going another step up. Hold on. I can't even get him completely on camera. But yes, so this is my Nagash mini. This is one of the first minis I painted. So, and there's Fjord, in comparison. Yeah, Turn Undead won't work on him. He was a lot of fun to do. My favorite part, you can see, this is going to be hard to show. This is really hard to show. God damn camera. Hey, Fjord, stop being upside down. Is this book here. One of my favorite things to do is books. Yeah, so this being my biggest, one of my biggest, was fun. But I'd repaint him if I could. If I'm being honest. I've got some other big ones. Here's one of the Matt Colville dragons. Still in comparison is kind of small. This is going to be really fun to paint too. So yeah, I actually do a lot of... Normally I paint monsters. And I usually take the same attention to detail as I would with one of these. So this guy took me 35 hours to paint, and that's when I was really just starting out painting. I say starting out, I had been painting for about 6 months, and took some tutorials and really learned to paint. So yeah, I eventually got to this point, and there's still a bunch of things about it that I'm like, oh, I hate it, I want to redo it. But taught me some fundamentals, so it was a good thing to do. Anybody who tells you start painting a mini you don't like, no, that's kind of bullshit. Paint minis that you want to paint. Don't be afraid about messing them up, because you're gonna look at it later down the road and be like, that's crap anyway. You buy another one and you paint it back. So, and I realize why everything is so dark. I don't have all my lights on. So yeah. You can start just about anywhere. Now, I think Fjord's pants are now done. Yeah, he looks dry. Mostly. There's a few spots. And I am still not happy with that brown, so we're going to do one more shade, but just on the lighter brown. Ooh boy, I did it again. Thank God I have like 6 pots of this. Oh, all of this was mostly just to get down the base colors. What about Fjord's pants? They're not wet enough. So I'm doing one more layer. Hopefully that will get these to the point that I am happy with. Not wet enough, you say? Listen, this isn't a smut channel. But there's a reason we listed this 18 plus. But at the same time, my players also decided to visit a fantasy adult shop. So I had to do that at the last second. I love our resident 5-year-old, aka Laura Bailey. Bailey's character walking into a bank in full BDMS. Yeah, I know. That's the rough and tumble biting me in the ass a year later. Oh, autistic cosplay. That's actually something that happened in our streamed game. The character that our friend Bailey plays is Mytholial, and a while back when they went to the fantasy adult store, there was glamored clothing. And its base look was just BDSM full body leather. And Well, they're now in the plane of the Fae, and part of the Fae City is one of their security measures is that the front door has an anti-magic field. And it's just this thin anti-magic field, and this whole time they're trying to break into this bank. And they came to the conclusion that Myth was the one who needed to go in and scout out the place. They had completely forgotten that their glamored clothing was this base color, even though in the episode before, they had literally basically went to another tavern to pick up chicks. And so they go through all this. I say not a word. As their GM, it is my obligation to not tell them anything about how they're messing up. And so she walks in the front door thinking everything's fine, and I describe as her clothing disappears and she is in full body leather in front of everybody. And oh boy, that was a time. The guards reacted. They were like, ma'am, why are you wearing glamored clothing? So, that is what Myth got up to. Also, there's a possibility we might not be... We might have a... we might be streaming a one-shot this week, because we have 2 players missing. So, fun times. Oh yeah, and in-game... Okay, so, autistic cosplay. Titties is the name of a character. Or at least the name that they have for him. He's a sprite. Because, at the fantasy sex shop, they picked up gummy tits and dicks because they thought it was funny. And I went along with it because I'm that kind of DM. So they made this sprite, and knowing someone's name potentially puts you in danger. So Fae are very stringent about giving their name out. And they were bribing him with these candies because sprites in my world really love sweets. So, they gave him some of the gummy tits. And told him that they're called titties. And he's... And in character, I had to say, I love titties! I don't know what flavor it is. I don't think they've established that. But... They asked him what they should call him, and with the sprite's flawless logic, it's like, you can call me titties, because he didn't know what they actually were. He had never really gone to the material plane to see people, so that was a fun time. What flavor were the gummy titties? This is vital information. Wow. I think it was a year ago that I gave them anything. Might have been like various fruit flavors. I really have a hard time remembering. Okay. Well, there is the wash on Fjord's outfit. And I think that looks fantastic. And since there is actually battle scars there, I'm not actually going to put my own battle scars on it, which I was going to, but I decided against it. The irony is great of various fruit flavors. I haven't even gotten to the metal yet. So none of that's been done. The scabbard hasn't been done, and I haven't done the rope yet. I do have a whole half an hour. So I think I'll do the base color for the rope and maybe the base of the metal. I'm not... There is one thing I have to do on the face, and that is I have to paint his upper lip. Because right now you actually can't really see his upper lip. So I gotta just very lightly put that in and try not to fuck up my wet blend. So, first we are going to do... Uh-oh. That sounds really liquidy. I think I'm going to do a darker red. I don't want this to be too insane. Oh boy, I have not used this specific red in a very long time. What color lipstick would fit for it? I feel like it'd be hard since he's two-toned. Well, I'm actually going to use the same color as, like, the darker green, because I don't really want to give him lipstick. What it is it's more of shadowing. So when you actually look at lips, it's hard on mine because, one, I have a beard and it's dark. But the upper lip on the bottom is much darker than the lower lip on the top, and that's because of the direction of light. So I don't really need to do anything to his lower lip, but by putting the upper lip, it kind of gives you that connection. And also because I can really only do like a very thin line, it's really important that I don't fuck that up. Okay, I'm going to use an even thinner brush for that. But now I'm seriously considering Fjord with lipstick. Okay. And now very gently, with the utmost concern to not get this on all of the leather that I just finished doing. Yeah, I'm really glad I decided to go with this much darker red, because this is gonna stick out like crazy. I mean, you could go with an even, like, brighter green. Okay, I also have to be careful because there's like belt loops here. I would say because of his light undertone, a proper lipstick for him would probably be a much darker tone. So I'd go something... deep blue could be good. Or keeping with the green, literally doing, like, the dark green. Painting has taught me some color theory just from experimentation. So, funny enough, I actually was not very artistic when I was younger. Art class was really just the place... Actually, I didn't even take art class in high school. I was in the machine shop. It wasn't until I got into tabletop war games that really I looked at minis at all. Well, the thing that I learned is that everyone, to a degree, is artistic. What it is that you have to find the medium that you are more comfortable with. Like, I can paint a mini, but I cannot draw. That is one of our other friends. So, to me, this is the medium that I'm able to do my artistic expression. Unless you count writing, which a lot of people do. In which case, I also do that. So, So I'll have to do a little bit of cleanup for this, but that's fine. These brushes are in my way. Which actually, after I'm done painting tonight, I'm going to sit down and try to work on my book some. I will agree. So, completely discounting the characters for this, I actually really enjoy this mini. There's a lot of very minor details that just make this mini pop. And I love it in that respect, where Jester had a lot of things that kind of had to be painted on top. I haven't even gotten to the metallics today. So that's the base of the red. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup. I can see why Jester is enchanted with and charmed with him. Okay. So just very small. There's some of these edges that I got a little red on. I want to repaint the belt loops. And you know what the best part is? The red rope isn't even done yet. Because if you thought that this was everything, oh no, I've got another stream to do out of this. Yeah, I've got so many minor details here that yeah, this is not done tonight. But I got most of the base coloring. Basing done. Yeah, okay, so there we go. Alright, and one last thing. At least for this, is the coloring that sits on top here. Oh yeah, I was also going to do some of the metals tonight. You know what? I don't like how that's turning out. So instead, I'm going to do a different technique. And it requires me to paint over this. And we will return to that next week. But if you return next week, you will see why some, like Andrew, will say I have zero chill. Thank you, Yas. Did I really? I missed a part of his ass? It's a shame. Just finishing up at work, so talk to you later. Alright, yes. Luckily, we're about to wrap up. I got about 15 minutes left. So, I'm going to try to get some of this metal done, which is good because then I can change my water out. Oh, wait, hold on. And this metal's going to make a lot of things really stand out. But it'll then need to be brought down with wash. But I have a feeling I'm not going to get to that until next time. Because most of the time tonight is going to be me getting this on buckles. First of all, this will need a second coat. Because I can already see right there. So finally everything has been, well, okay, almost everything. Now let me double check what color that, okay, both of these were a metallic, but they're gonna need to be brought down really hard. I may have to do a little bit more research onto Fjord's sword, because I know it's changed a bit. And I want to figure out what version of the sword he's using on this mini. Alright, so we got a few buckles kind of spread throughout. There's this one here. There's, oh, I'm going to need a smaller brush. I'm going to need even smaller. No, but I can move to a different buckle. So there's some of these rings on his belt. Sorry, on his many belts. Oh! And these rings are metal. I actually like that more. Because that gives a little bit more dimension to him. And he's also got a little bit of what looks like metal on the end of this thing. Is there any metal on his shoes? Not really. Okay. Well, I think we've made a ton of progress today. There is quite a bit more to do on him. To kind of put some details to it, there are a few things I want to do with like the edges. There's all the details. There's all the finer details in his face, like all of Fjord's scars. This rope needs a little bit more detail done to it. I've got to put a wash on it, and then I'm going to put some very small edge highlights on each of like the rolls of the knot. Got to put some wash on these bits of metals, and then kind of bring out some highlights on those. And then I got to finish up this portion of the pants. I might do some other things with highlighting. I'm probably going to do some edge highlights on all of these belts to kind of make some of them pop a bit more. But yeah, might just be a little bit of extra cleanup and just making everything pop a little bit more. And, oh, also his head, his hair, and the rest of his sword. So, I think I got enough for a stream next week. But with that, I'm actually going to call it for the night. I've been here for about 3 hours. I actually need to get dinner still. But hey, thank you all for stopping by. It really has been a lot of fun working on this. I'll be posting some pictures online. If you haven't, we have a Discord for Nerdalopedia, where announcements for all of our streams go up. We're also on Twitch, or on Twitter, sorry. We're already on Twitch. And if you haven't followed, please do so. That would be wonderful. But yeah, no. I think that's everything for tonight. Thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you later this week.